I wanted to talk about witchcraft, what is considered diabolical, what it really is, which realms it exposes you to, and how you can actually manifest into that realm. Because majority of what we are told, what majority of what we assimilate, and I say assimilate because you take in information, you take in information has so many categories, and there are byproducts of information. One is pictures. What you see, you're actually assimilating, and you form a perception about it based on your understanding, based on your views, based on also what has actually meant it at, what has actually made its way to you. Because then not everyone sees everything, and then not everyone assimilates everything well. They're due to either your upbringing, due to your environment, even spiritual environment, due to your physical environment, your physical perceptions, physical understanding, exposure, even cultural background, and your cultural upbringing, entities and deities that you serve, narratives that you're taking part in, be it education, be it the psychosis of religion, be it government. You know, the government of the day, there are certain narratives they put out, there are certain agendas they put out. And whether you're taking part in these agendas, whether you're taking part in these narratives, it forms a certain energy path, energy frequency around you that determines what how you perceive things, determines what you assimilate and how you assimilate it and how fast you process it. Also, your background determines a lot. So assimilation is not at the same rate, and it's also not at the same quality and quantity. So I wanted to break down what how witchcraft is perceived and what witchcraft really is, and why there are certain regions, certain people, and certain genres that assimilate it very fast and are able to perceive it and just take it and run with it. Then there are also those who are ignorant about it, so they label it a certain way, so they perceive it a certain way, and they put out certain energies about it and concerning it, and why it works to a certain degree to certain people, and why it doesn't work on any degree to certain people. This one, it will probably be in stages, so I'll do a part one, part two, part three, because it's quite vast. Now remember, this is my perception, this is my vlog, how I understand it and how it's actually playing out. So on one hand, witchcraft is basically manipulation of elements. Be it water is an element, be it air, be it people's perception, be it people's destinies. All these are just elements. Life is just a culmination of elements. Yeah, you know, elements. There is water, there is air, there is fire. You know, there is soil, but there is also spiritual elements to this thing. So water has a spiritual element to it. Fire has a spiritual element to it. In fact, things like souls are likened, are synonyms for things like fire and that. That's in the spiritual realm. It represents your soul. Fire, water represents your spirit. That's how you're able to. They speak of things like you're drowning. They speak of things that you have to wade through life. You have to swim to higher ground. You have to, you have to paddle your way to certain extremes and certain extents. Then things like stone, it also has a spiritual. The synonym for that is blockages, hardship, toil, struggle, and toil. There are things like elements like air. There's elements like, because this when these elements come together, then they bring forth things like, for example, the human body is just a culmination of elements. The human spirit is also a culmination of elements. Then the life aspect is also a culmination of elements. So when you say witchcraft is manipulation, it's basic manipulation of elements. Even when you're cooking, you're doing a you're performing certain levels of witchcraft, because you introduce heat to food, yeah, to plants. You find them in their natural state, then you introduce heat to it. Either that, or you take from it, you grind it, and you remove water from it, so you change its state, you change its you change the base of it, you change you change its reaction, you change its conditions. If it was cold, it becomes hot. If it was hot, it becomes cold. If it was solid, it becomes a liquid. If it was a liquid, it becomes solid. This is all manipulation, and this all falls under the guard of witchcraft, which is just basic manipulation. Now, the witchcraft that a lot of people know of and understand is the one now is termed diabolical. And the reason I say it's just a matter of ascension is the higher you go in terms of spirituality, meaning the more you assimilate the processes of this life, the more you take in through, you go through life, challenges come and you're able to tackle them, and you're able to rise above them. You're actually ascending, because as you thought when you were a child is not the same way you're thinking right now. So you mature in things. Spiritually, you also mature in terms of perception. You also mature, so you're able to perceive things differently. And to perceive is just to understand things to the extent where you are able to take charge over them. You're able to control that energy. You're able to, you take it in, you assimilate it, you become one with it. Then you're able to bring forth also on a certain, on certain levels or certain realms. Hence witchcraft. That's why there are people who can speak into your life, and it just, the extent of which they bring forth is on a whole other level. But then there are people who are able to speak into your life, and it's just that, it's just nothing. It doesn't have a, it's baseless. It doesn't have a standing. It doesn't have a ground to stand on. This, it's all, it all depends on assimilation and bringing forth the energy that you command, the energy that you're able to impact, and that which your authority, that you're able to also align with that, and you're able to establish something. That's witchcraft. That's why there are people who can see you and be like, this day tomorrow you will not be, you will not be like the, in such and such a state. And then actually it actually manifests, and you actually actual it actually manifests over you, and you actually, it is actualized in your life. It's because also of the authority they have, because they've also, they've learned the spiritual aspects. They've learned it, they've taken it in so much that they've become one with it, that they're able to be in sync with it, and they're able to speak on it and speak over it and speak with total regard and authority over it. And when this happens, there is an establishment, an enthronement, an empowerment, an enrichment, and also it encompasses him. He is the energy, is that energy, and that energy is him. So they're in sync. So they can speak with authority in regards to that energy, and that energy actually bows to it. And that's how the people who are able to bewitch you, they're able to speak over your life, and it actually stands. You hear statements like, a causeless curse cannot stand. It's causeless because you don't give it legal ground. But you see, you giving it legal ground is when you believe in it to the extent where that's all you eat, that's all you think about, that's all you eat, breathe, and sleep about. So you actually, you subconsciously and consciously, you're giving it legal ground to exist in your life. Because there are people who don't believe in witchcraft. So even if you pour salt in front of them, and they will pass it. And there are people who believe if there is a demarcation of salt before you, do not pass over it, because when you pass over it, you actually give certain entities and deities authority over you, and you actually bring forth certain calamities over you. Either that, or you establish certain grounds and energy sequences within yourself and around you. But the people don't believe in that, and it actually does not do anything for them. So spiritually, whatever you see physically is the activation point was in the spiritual realm. And spiritual realm is not religion. Religion, these are doctrines of this land, of this simulation, of this earth, of this realm, the 3D, third dimension, where there is physical manifestations. In 4D, 5D, going up, 6D, like that, 12D, it's no longer physical. It's now, you aspire to be now a spiritual being. You aspire to just be now an energy part, a sequence. That's why they say they speak of conscious, subconscious, because in the 3D, it has to have a physical manifestation for it to actually have legal ground and for it to stand. But above the simulation, above the ascension, that's why you ascend, you go up. It's spiritual, and there are people who have mastered the spiritual realms to the extent where they can actually interfere with the physical manifestations. They can actually establish contrary physical manifestations, and it's because you give them legal ground. So now the realm will speak of it as something diabolical, because then within this realm there are certain narratives that are pushed forward. Education teaches you against, education is there to guard you against spirituality. So with education comes religion, because then religion is taught, is a branch within education, and education is a branch within religion also. So they go hand in hand. These are aspects of this simulation that have to take place regardless of whether you understand them or not. This is a place where these things have legal ground, and they have rooting here. Education, government, religion, culture, society, all these are things that have their rooting here, and they'll have to take place here in this life, in this realm. There's no point in time when these things will not be there. It's just a matter of different level, different generations, different doctrines, different narratives playing out, different timelines playing out, timelines shifting. So you are meant to ascend above this realm. But when you enter within this realm, you operate within this realm. So you have to operate within this realm in the sense that you will take part in those narratives, because that is the law of the land, and that's the order of the day. Then now as you go through them, you are meant to ascend above them, because then you always see both sides of the coin at all times. A coin has three sides, but you are that third side, the middle side, where now it's in the rolling form. Then both sides, you see both sides, and you're able to perceive, you're able to assimilate, you're able to bring forth now. As you roll, as you gather moss, you're able to, now you see both sides, and then now you decide for yourself. It's not for you. You're not here to come and break these systems. You're not here to come and destroy and raise certain altars and all that. This is within this realm. There are deities who govern these systems. These deities want you to serve them. These deities need you. They actually need you to serve them, for them to have legal ground to operate within this realm. And that's why those are systems that are on ground, because with religion, they're able to deter you from spirituality. So now you conform to certain patterns of it, you conform to certain doctrines, to certain narratives. You now operate within the psychosis of religion. So if you're not religious, and they've made it such that everyone has to be religious, because once you're born, you're named a certain way. When you are ordained or established within the society a certain way, so there are certain names you have to have. You enter through a tribe system. You enter and you are accorded a certain tribe. You enter and you're accorded a certain genre, a certain caste system. You enter and you're accorded a certain way of life. You have to conform. These are not things you have control over when you enter, but these are things once you start, you continuously ascend, you actually have charge over them, and you're able to drop off this is baggage that pertains to this realm. But then there are people who take on this baggage and carry it and actually conform to it to the extent where this is now where their identity is. And that's not nice. It's not meant to be like that. I'll continue in the next, within the next, there will be a part 2 to this. So for now, I'll stop here, then now I'll continue for the next one in the next live. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And so be it.